Pawn shop employees of Reddit. What is something people think is collectible or worth a lot of money, but is actually relatively worthless? I used to flip computers and people could not understand that their used, broken computer is not worth the $500 they originally paid for it. I buy, build and flip computers as well. The most common mistake I see people make is trying to flip high-end builds. The number of people out there looking to drop $2,500 on a computer is small, and the people out there looking to spend that money either build it themselves or pay a company to do it for them so they can get exactly what they want. Low to mid-range is where the quick money is in my experience. Anything over $500 just sits around and attracts lowball offers. Edit: this kind of blew up more than I thought, and I am getting a lot of questions from people wanting to do this on their own now. A couple pieces of information first. Everyone who has ever built a computer understands how easy it is to do and thinks they can make money on the side doing it. I do it because it helps with the upgrade lust and is something that I enjoy doing. If you don't want to deal with people or enjoy building and working on computers, I do not recommend trying it. Also, you will be dealing with people, so if you don't want to provide support, haggle or can't be social, it probably isn't for you. Make no mistake, it is work. I build 2 to 3 computers on the side each month to pay for my own upgrades and beer/fun money. It is great for that, but I don't think someone doing what I do could make a living out of it. Everything I do is on the side of my day job. My average takeaway from a $400 $500 computer is usually about $100, maybe a little more than that if I find good deals, but after the time spent shopping, building, testing and selling a computer, I am not making big bucks doing it. If you want to make a living off of it, you probably need a store, and at least in my city, those places pop up and most go out of business in a couple years. You will be doing maintenance and troubleshooting for your customers. If it is outside the first 90 to 180 days, make sure you charge them and make them understand that there is no warranty on used parts and no free repair outside of a certain window. Never do work for free, as it will become the expectation. Be upfront and honest about what it is, what it can do and where it came from. If you're using second-hand parts, tell them that, because if something goes wrong, there likely will not be a warranty for them to fall back on. If you're building something someone requests, ask if they are okay with used parts. You can get them a better PC that way, but there are risks with buying used electronics. Being upfront and honest will make people recommend you to their friends. If you're building something specific that someone contacted you about, anything below $500, I send a build list and ask for 50% upfront, which is non-refundable. Anything above that is 100% upfront, or they buy the parts, you will likely never hear from them again after that. I work at a hobby shop, not a pawn shop, but we buy and sell collectibles. Top vote goes to comic books and Pokemon cards. I've literally had people come in with garbage bags full of crumpled comic books from 20 years ago that look like they were buried in a swamp, expecting thousands of dollars for them. Likewise, Pokemon was the hottest media franchise in the world when it came out. Everyone had them. Many still do. Lots of new cards are actually worth more than the old base set rares. If you're going to sell anything, do your research, for your sake and the vendors. I don't understand how someone can try to sell something and have no idea what it's worth. If you don't even have a frame of reference for what a fair price is, what do you hope to accomplish? At that point, you're just using your willful ignorance as an excuse to assume you're getting ripped off just because you, like 99% of people, don't have a treasure trove of collectibles. But I was told that the foil Charizard was worth $100 by a friend that one time, and nothing you say will make me change my mind, Mr. Man. A shadowless first edition foil Charizard card in mint condition actually is worth that much. But it has to be all of those things to be worth that much, and most people vastly overestimate the quality of their cards. Someone may think it's gem perfect, but it's far, far from that. That slight bend in the card that's not even noticeable until it's laying down? That little nick on the top corner from when you pulled the card? Colors in the hollow foil faded because it got too much sun exposure? Borders not all perfectly aligned and equally spaced? The random blemishes that the card had before you ever even held it for the first time? So many factors that people overlook will immediately diminish the value of my incredible amounts. Pawn shop employee here. Get a ton of people bringing TVs and thinking they're going to get $100+. But the market is so oversaturated, you're most likely gonna get less than 50 even for your 60 inches TV. I paid $220 for a 4K Samsung 40 inches a few weeks ago. TVs are stupid cheap now. Edit: I just want to add that I wanted the 40 inches for my very tiny apartment. I absolutely know I could have gotten a bigger one for not much more. It's funny how this is happening. BC now you can get a TV that would've been considered futuristic when I was a kid for like $100. They still work fine, but everyone is so enamored with 4/8K that they don't even want a good 1080p, and you can get it for like 10% of what it cost 3 years ago. Yeah. My parents bought a 42 1080p TV in either 2007 or 2008 and it was like $1,600. I bought a 4K 40 TV for my bedroom a year or so ago and it was like $250. State quarters full set. So many grandmas think a full book with all the state quarters there are priceless. Worth exactly as much as 50x.25, especially because, at least in the city I lived in when I was collecting them, you could go to the bank and specifically purchase a specific state's quarter. I have them in set for the state quarters. It's worth like $1 more. Best I can do is $3.50. Fine art. Every once in a while, someone finds an old master drawing, etc. in their attic, but for the most part it's mostly junk by amateurs. Also, just because family lore claims a painting is by such and such a person, without concrete documentation, that claim is worthless. Edit. As a PSA, don't take fine art to a pawn shop. If you have any inkling that a work of art is worth something, go to an auction house or professional appraiser. Fine, I won't show you my great-grandmother's prized sculpture by Michelangelo she picked up in Japan on her honeymoon. Michelangelo-san. Jewelry. Especially diamond rings. Yeah, you paid thousands, it's worth considerably less. Longaberger baskets. The next state over there is a now defunct basket-making company whose HQ is a giant basket. They were a thing for a while, similar to Beanie Babies, until the bottom fell out of the market. People were buying these things as a long-term investment, but they are practically worthless now. People think they still have value. Hey! Bottom fell out of the basket market. Don't put all your eggs in the basket market, there's always money in the banana stand. Came to this thread to say this. Nice. Baseball autographs after like 1935. Willie Mays, Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle. Yeah, they signed thousands of things. Often lowers values of their cards. Derek Jeter came to my elementary school when I was in 4th grade and we lined up to walk out of the auditorium so he could sign a baseball card that they issued to every one of us. I had no clue who he was and cared nothing for baseball, so I just walked past him. I sometimes wonder if that was a bad move on little 10-year-old Diorama's part, but I feel a little better knowing it wouldn't actually be worth anything today. I have a signed Jeter card from his high school team. I'm told it's worth a couple of bucks. Ken Griffey Jr.'s rookie card? Michael Jordan's rookie baseball card? Apparently not worth the cardstock they were printed on. The entirety of the Topps baseball cards from the year I was born? Never seen the light of day? $25. Most second-hand electric guitars are significantly less expensive than they are when brand new, even if it is a major brand like Gibson or Fender. People would get offended at the offers we would make them because they didn't understand what a retail markup is, and they didn't realize that most guitars lose 50% of their value the moment you purchase them. I'm a guitar and watch nerd. In both markets it's critical to buy used. There are so many nice used guitars and watches that can be bought, enjoyed for a few years, then sold for what you paid for them that it's pointless to buy new. No shit, you're gonna lose money. Had a friend who made a fortune flipping two-hand instruments. He'd buy a drum kit for $200 just to sell one of the cymbals for double that, keep whatever he wanted, then sell the rest of a kit with a shitty cymbal for more than he paid. It was easier before the internet. He used the internet, but 10 years ago so a different landscape. I'm sure he's still out there, scoping for mothers selling their son's tailor for $100. Pawn shop employee here. Just a friendly reminder that no one wants to buy your great-grandmother's china set, silverware at the same time. Almost all of it is just plated. And even 90% silver is not worth much unless you've got some weight. My family is in a weird position right now because both sets of my grandparents and one of my great-aunts left their huge sets of fine silverware to my parents, and my parents have their own set of silverware they got when they got married. My brother and I are going to inherit 2 sets of silverware each. I'm planning on getting married in like a year and a half if things go well, and who fucking knows if anyone in my boyfriend's huge, traditionally minded, super Catholic family is going to give us a silverware set. I wouldn't put it past them. He's also the oldest child of his family, and oldest grandchild, so there's a solid chance he could inherit a set as well. By the time all's said and done, you'll have a dedicated room for silverware. Not exactly this but similar. I worked in a used bookstore for years. We offered cash and store credit for trade-ins. So many people couldn't grasp that if we are selling a book for $3, it meant we would buy it for way less than that. They'd haul in a box of trash expecting a grand payday. They also didn't understand that a book being a mega bestseller or on an Oprah list or made into a movie years ago made it less valuable for us. If 10 mil people bought the book in 2012, then 2 mil have probably already traded theirs in and the other 8 mil still have it and aren't likely to buy more copies. No, you aren't getting $10 for the Da Vinci Code because we have 2 shelves full of copies selling for $6 each right over there. This is how I learned about economy. My grandmother was best friends with a used bookstore owner and Harlequin reader, and I spent many a summer days in the bookstore learning about this market. Okay, so maybe you can help me answer this then. The Harlequin ladies would come in like clockwork every couple weeks. They'd buy a dozen of them and trade the dozen they got last time in for credit. Couple weeks later, bring back the last batch they bought to get credit toward their next batch. Why? Did they not just use libraries? Our local libraries absolutely carried Harlequin. It just seemed like a more expensive library service for them. Their credit never equaled their cost, so they were spending money each time. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have a similar story, share it in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Have a great day, or night.